Look, it is an absolute honour. It was fantastic the day that they asked me to do that, because obviously Australia Day is such an important celebration for us. And look, whilst so many parts of my life are filled with Australian spirit, I've got to say that I've never seen the Australian spirit, come to life more than during this bushfire season. And the work of the firefighters, the work of the community, the work of the other agencies to support, it's been fantastic. I think it was about 2 weeks beforehand, but being in the job that I'm in, it's always touch and go this time of year about what sort of availability I would have. So I was immediately interested in doing the role, because it's very important. But yeah, just had to wait and see what we were going to be like as far as fire activity locally, but also throughout the state, because in this service, whilst I look after the Central Coast, as have all my crews done this season, I too and the staff here as well have travelled right across the state to help with the fire effort. So started at Mingara with the citizenship ceremony there, so over 180 citizens there, obviously given their certificate and taking the oath, which was just fantastic, and such lovely people to talk to, and all had great stories about where they'd been and where they're going to, and just so proud of becoming Australian, which is so important. So then we went up to the entrance, and obviously the celebrations up there, and caught up with a few people, and then down at Woi Woi at the other end of the day. So yeah, it was a very busy day, but good to get out and chat with people, and just fantastic to see all the citizens that were receiving their citizenship. So yeah, initially joined the Rural Fire Service in 1990 as a volunteer, and then joined the ambulance service as a career in 1994. So started off originally in the outdoor education field, got an interest in doing sort of first aid, wilderness first aid, took me down a path in ambulance, joined ambulance. Spent close to 20 years with ambulance, and then obviously stayed with the Rural Fire Service as a volunteer throughout that time. So I lived a bit of a double life in the ambulance fire field, and then obviously an opportunity came up for a management role within the Rural Fire Service, and obviously with my management background in ambulance and my volunteer experience understanding the operational arrangements of the Rural Fire Service, I made the leap. Here on the Central Coast, we have 2,300 volunteers. They're absolutely amazing, and they've certainly stood up this season and provided a massive amount of support locally, but right the way across the state. So we've been going since about mid-August. We started to send crews away up to Tenterfield and Armidale, Kempsey and Casino very early in the season, and we've continued that commitment up north. And then obviously as the fire season has worked its way down the coast, we've sent them to Port Macquarie, to Foster. We've sent them across to Singleton to help out there, and Lower Hunter. They've been to the Blue Mountains, to Hawkesbury. We currently have crews out as we speak. They're down in the Moruya area. We've also got crews in Queanbeyan, and we're sending further crews down on the weekend to help out generally in that region south area. They don't have a specific location at this time, but obviously they'll be there. So since mid-August, we've sent a total of just under 2,000 firefighter deployments. So and that's all the support that we've provided outside of our area. So whilst we've done that, we also need to acknowledge that within our area we've also had some significant fires that obviously the crews have worked round the clock for weeks on end on those fires locally, sort of thing, to help minimise the impact on the community. So it really has been a huge commitment this fire season. Fair to say that people that have been in the game a long time, and obviously I've got 30 years in the game, I've certainly never seen fire behaviour of what we've seen this fire season. The fuel is just so dry. It just takes a small amount of wind, and these things just flare up and make big runs, and they're running fast and running hard. Absolutely, there's pride, and it's the Rural Fire Service. I do want to acknowledge too that there's obviously the Fire Rescue New South Wales, Forestry, National Parks. We're all firefighters that work alongside each other in these times of everyone on deck, which it's been, sort of thing. So yeah, there's absolute immense pride amongst the membership in the Rural Fire Service, and all credit to Shane. He really has done quite an amazing job this fire season in keeping it all together, and obviously making sure that we're getting the best warnings out there for the public, telling them what's going on, and doing the best that we can to protect as many as we can. It really is devastating for the firefighters to they do all their training training is about protecting people and protecting places, and you know they've just had situations where you know the fire front is just that severe, and the resources just aren't there to be able to protect every single house. So it really is devastating for firefighters to actually go and actually see houses burn down, or go down after the fire's gone through and see the devastation. So we do see this when there are big fire events. We've seen it a few times before in the past. We get this massive influx of membership. In all honesty, we probably only retain maybe a third of them that initially show interest, but that's okay. You know, any boost in membership is fantastic. Yeah. Good question, and that's any person's guess. But I think you know, we have seen a little bit of rain here in the last couple of weeks, and generally the humidities tend to be up. It's one thing that's really a problem for firefighting or for bushfires as such is low humidities, and we have seen just a general increase in the humidities and staying high sort of thing. They're not dropping down below the 20% and into the single figures that they had been when the fire season was really at its height sort of thing. So we still do have a couple of months of summer to go though. And obviously, you know, it's not unusual for fire seasons these days to extend beyond March and into April and May. So we're going to maintain vigilance. We're going to keep an eye on, obviously, the longer range forecast, as good as they are at times, but also, you know, just keep an eye on it for the rest of the season.